Ahoy hoy, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Cinema's a Lifestyle Radio Hour. We are delighted that you've chosen to visit us this fine day, so sit back, relax, and enjoy some riveting discussion on all things film. And here's your host for the evening, Colton Nielsen.
What is up, everybody? I am back, and I am back to discuss my final predictions for the 2022 Oscars that are just around the corner. They are this Sunday. It is so close. It's crazy that we're wrapping up this award season already. But also, it's been a long, long week. Holy cow. So just to catch everybody up to speed on what's been kind of going on in the award circuit, let me just tell you, it's pandemonium. It's craziness. Up until about a week ago, Power of the Dog was looking to win Best Picture, Best Director, Screenplay, maybe even cinematography, and get out there with maybe a nice 3 or 4 Oscars. And it may be a boring night come Oscar ceremony, maybe just Power of the Dog and Dune sweeping up all the awards. That is until CODA decides to shake everything up and win at the PGAs, win Best Screenplay at the BAFTAs, and is CODA going to win Best Picture now? We will talk about that. I will tell you. So I'm just going to go through my predictions for what's going to happen Oscar night. And like I said, there are some I will tell you, there are some categories that are an absolute lock. Like, no way anything else is going to win. But then there are some categories that not only 1 or 2 things could happen, but several things could. And it's insane. So we're going to try to break this down. And, I consider myself, pretty knowledgeable when it comes to this stuff. I watched these races really closely and look at all the Guilds Awards and all the precursors and see what's going on. I'm on the Twitters, I'm on the internet, seeing what people are talking about, It's a really interesting time. So we're just going to go straight through it, and we're just going to start right off at Best Picture. So, like I mentioned, it's between Power of the Dog and CODA right now. A 2-horse race that we didn't think was a 2-horse race until it was. So to break it down, CODA has won at the PGA, and they won the SAG Ensemble. Power of the Dog was not nominated for SAG Ensemble, but they were nominated at the PGA and expected to win at the PGA. Whereas the Power of the Dog has won Best Picture at the BAFTA, Critics' Choice, and Golden Globe. So ever since the first big award to one of the latest ones, the BAFTA and the Critics' Choice, which just happened about a week ago, it's been winning Best Picture. But all of a sudden, CODA has come sneaking up behind it and stealing some of these big precursors here. And honestly, what factors into it as well, a lot of different factors. The fact that Power of the Dog is probably not going to win any acting awards, which is big. Power of the Dog is guaranteed a directing nomination. That is a lock. We'll talk about that in a sec. And, that's kind of it. There maybe is a chance in cinematography, but I'm not sure about it. But really nothing else. So can Power of the Dog sneak out with just Best Director and Best Picture? Can it win Best Picture with just one other Oscar nomination? Oscar win, that is. Sorry. It just seems odd. Whereas CODA, it seems like it's a lock for a supporting actor. Screenplay looks to be in their favor over Power of the Dog. If they get that and then go to Best Picture, CODA will have swept everything it was nominated for and come out with 3 wins in a Best Picture. So that's an interesting scenario there. Also, if CODA wins Best Picture, that throws so many stats out the window. And I'm a numbers guy. I like looking at the numbers and what's happened in past years and percentages and odds and all that, but CODA winning here would really throw a lot of those patterns out of the window. And I'm going to kind of go against the numbers, and right now I am here to tell you that I am predicting CODA to win Best Picture. I am riding the hype. And I know that it's like, oh, you don't ride the hype, Power of the Dog's been the front runner for so long. Why would you just jump ship at the last second? The voters do that as well. The voters are people in the film community. Not all of them are super in touch with things, which, comes with historic issues with the Oscars and all awards. But a lot of them are in touch with, film Twitter and the buzz and what's going on. People are watching CODA, watching the cast of CODA go up and accept the SAG Ensemble Award and watch them accept the PGA. They love watching the cast of CODA just accept these awards, and I do too. I really dig it, and I don't think it's something that the Oscars would want to pass on. A really good moment. Yeah, maybe Power of the Dog is more deserving of Best Picture. Maybe it's more technically done. But, CODA, you walk away feeling something, emotional. And not that you don't with Power of the Dog, but, how, if you've seen both of them, that CODA is the more crowd-pleasing film. It's got an 8 on IMDb, whereas Power of the Dog has less than 7. It's like a 6 point something, which is like the lowest out of all the Best Picture nominees. It's kind of disappointing because I love both of these films. I'll tell you that. I love Power of the Dog. It was top 5 of the year. I love CODA. It was my top 10 of the year. Do I think Power of the Dog is more technically well done, better directed, maybe better acted? All around, at least. Yeah, probably. But do I love the hell out of CODA? Yes. Was I moved to tears at several points in that movie? Yes. Would I be happy to see it win Best Picture? Yes. And do I think it's going to win Best Picture? I think that's also a yes. So you heard it here. Colton is predicting CODA to win Best Picture. All right, and now moving on to director. Like I mentioned before, this is a locked-in category. It is Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. She has won at the Golden Globe, BAFTA, and Critics' Choice. Nobody else has been challenging her at all. I would say maybe if there is a maybe if there is a runner-up, maybe Kenneth Branagh. But he has not proved anything so far this season that there's any chance that he would win. And if they're not going to give Power of the Dog Best Picture, or at least like a screenplay, they're wanting to give Jane Campion some sort of award, and it would be the Best Directing one. So lock in Jane Campion for Best Director. Then moving on to the acting categories. So leading actress was a crazy, crazy race this entire season, and we're all losing our minds over it. Remember when it was such a calm time and the only category we were really worrying about was Best Actress? Oh, what a wonderful time. But it's kind of switched. We're worrying about every other category and not so much actress, if you have a straight mind about it. And I think that's because Jessica Chastain has really proven herself as the front runner here. Ever since she won at the SAGs, I really was like, yeah, she's winning, isn't she? That Golden Globe win from Nicole Kidman was just a one-off thing. Just she's not going to win. It was just the Golden Globes love their Nicole Kidman. That they'll reward her for that, but that was just a one-time thing. Not going to happen. Is Olivia Colman happening here? No. Penelope Cruz? No. No. Kristen Stewart? Unfortunately, I don't think so. As much as we'd all love to see it, I may be rooting for her slightly more, but I just remember ever since watching Jessica Chastain in Eyes of Tammy Faye, when I saw that in theaters, the moment that movie was over, I went, how does she not win an Oscar for this? Like, being overdue aside and all the other competition aside and all these stuff, like, just watching that, how do you not reward that? She cries, she sings, she yells, she screams, she laughs, she does everything. And yeah, maybe the makeup's a little goofy, and maybe the performance is a little goofy, but it works. She hams it up so much, but never overdoes it. It's a fascinating performance that it's so charming, and it'll be a memorable performance going on in the future, and a memorable win. So I'm locking in Jessica Chastain for leading actress. And then moving on to Best Actor in a Leading Role. This is also a fascinating category where it's been Will Smith since like August, and it hasn't changed. Maybe at a time we thought Benedict might challenge him. Maybe Andrew. But that was it. He's won at the Golden Globe, BAFTA, Critics' Choice, and SAG. Why would he lose at the Oscars? I have yet to heard a solid argument for it, and so it's Will Smith. And similar to Jessica Chastain, for Chastain and Smith, these nominations are their third, and they have not won yet, and so they are both overdue. And it's going to be a great moment when they both win, and it'll be a great time to say Academy Award winning actor Will Smith. That'll be really great. And Will Smith can go off and do Aladdin 2 and walk off into the sunset. All right. Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Ariana Bose. Similarly, she has been sweeping this entire race, and there's nothing stopping her now. They're really, I can't even pick out a runner-up out of the other four. I honestly can't. Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Another one that has really just solidified in the past few weeks. It's Troy Kotsur. It's my man Troy Kotsur. It is so awesome. Cody Smith McPhee is amazing in Power of the Dog. He's wonderful, and he had his moment at the Golden Globes. But man, Cody, get him back another year. Get him back another year for another film. He'll have another chance. Not saying that Troy won't have another chance. I'd love to see him get more work, but this is a performance that you have to nominate and have win now. There's no way you can let this slide. Everybody loves watching Troy accept his awards. He is heartfelt. He is humble. He's also super funny. And it's just a great moment. And I loved watching him accept his awards over at the BAFTAs and the SAGs and the Critics' Choice. It was so wonderful. So lock in. So honestly, I'm saying that the 4 acting categories pretty much locks. I wouldn't even say pretty much. I would say like locks. I don't really see anything else. Maybe if there is a weakest category out of the acting, it's actress, but it's not that weak. So look out for all 4 of those. And then we move on to the screenplay categories, which have been giving me headaches for nights on end now. Let's start with adapted. So this is between Power of the Dog and CODA. What CODA has going for it is that it won at the BAFTAs. And it won the WGA. However, at the WGAs, Power of the Dog was not eligible, so it was going to win. It was potentially the number 2, so yeah, CODA's going to win no matter what. And then the Power of the Dog got Critics' Choice. That BAFTA win for CODA is massive. They nominated the hell out of Power of the Dog over at the BAFTAs. It's so strong. And like I mentioned before, they're giving Campion her directing win. Do they really need to give her another one for a screenplay? A lot of the times they kind of think, well, we gave it to her, so let's share the wealth. Let's spread it out. It's happened. It's a trend that you can look up and find. It's not out of the question, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think that BAFTA win was too strong and too much of a tide turn. And again, everybody's talking about CODA at the perfect time for this film to get it. And so I think if CODA, I think this is a more solidified pick than Best Picture, honestly. I think it is more likely that CODA wins at Screenplay than Best Picture. I think both are likely, but Screenplay is even more likely. So I'm going to lock in CODA, an adapted screenplay. And then moving on to original screenplay. This is interesting. So way back, many months ago at the Golden Globes, Belfast won screenplay. And at the Golden Globes, they smush all the screenplays, adapted and original, into one. So that won over Power of the Dog. So that proved oh wow, so Belfast is that was back in the day when we thought Belfast was the Best Picture frontrunner. Simple times. And then Belfast also won at the Critics' Choice. This was big because earlier in the day, I remember Critics' Choice and BAFTAs were the same day. Earlier in the day, Licorice Pizza got BAFTA. And at the beginning of that day, we were like, wow, Licorice Pizza won the BAFTA. So, wow, Paul Thomas Anderson, he's going to get his first Oscar. He's overdue. This is his 11th nomination or 9th or something. 9th or 11th. He's been nominated a lot of times, but never won for anything. And so it's oh, it's really the time. And then Critics' Choice come out, and it's oh, it's Belfast. And so we're well, it's back to a 2-horse race. We'll just have to see what happens at the WGAs. Psych. Because Belfast is not eligible at the WGAs, so it has to go to Licorice Pizza. But psych again. WGAs rolls around and they give it to Don't Look Up. What? Unbelievable. Don't Look Up. And so everybody's now, oh my goodness, Don't Look Up's going to win. No. I'm here to tell you right now, Don't Look Up is not going to win the Oscar. I will also tell you that King Richard and, unfortunately, The Worst Person in the World are also not going to win the Oscar. That just, in my mind, proves that Belfast is the front runner, because the WGAs went out of their way not to give it to Licorice Pizza when Belfast wasn't there. If that makes sense. That tells me if Belfast was there, they would have given it to Belfast. Belfast was gone, and the WGA says, okay, let's give it to the runner-up in our mind, and that is Don't Look Up. They didn't even think. They didn't even bat an eye at Licorice Pizza. They said, no, PTA, no. Try again. And so that's why I got to go with Belfast for original screenplay. Is it kind of a boring-ish win? Yeah, a little. I love Belfast. And most of these films that are nominated here at any of these categories, I really liked. There's not many films here that I hate. I love Belfast. I love Licorice Pizza. Did I like one more than the other? Yeah, I like Licorice Pizza better than Belfast. I think would be a better win. But hey, I got to look on the bright side. Kenneth Branagh is going to get his Oscar. He's been overdue. He hasn't won yet. This film's about his childhood. How special is that? Like, that's going to be a really cool moment for him to accept that award. Hopefully, if he comes. I heard that he just tested positive for COVID, so hopefully he can make it back and accept it. That would be really stinky if he can't. But hey, that'd be awesome for him to get that. So I'm going to go with Belfast in the original screenplay category. And then moving on to all the technicals. So I'm going to start off with the technicals that are a little wishy-washy, and then we'll close with all the locked categories. End on a high note. So, editing. This editing race has just been a shit show the entire year. I'll give you the breakdown here. At the ACEs. So, when we come to the technical categories, each of them have the guilds. There where it's like the editing guilds and the cinematography guilds. So it's the cinematographers voting on the cinematographers. So those are pretty big ones. So over at the ACEs, both Tick Tick Boom and King Richard came out with wins, the big wins over there. West Side Story got the Critics' Choice, and No Time to Die got the BAFTA. Here's the thing, though. West Side Story and No Time to Die are not nominated at the Oscars, so we cannot look at that. So we are left with Tick Tick Boom and King Richard. Tick Tick Boom is not nominated for Best Picture, so I have to rule that out. King Richard, the only other award it's going to win is actor. Nothing else. It's probably like number 7 or number 8 in my Best Picture lineup. I am ruling that out. So that leaves us Dune, Power of the Dog, and Don't Look Up. Power of the Dog. So here's the thing. As it was proved last year with Sound of Metal, winning editing and sound, we saw that editing and sound are intrinsically linked. It's a package deal now, especially with sound being in one category now, and we can't split that category. We see that those ones are linked. And like I mentioned before, editing is also linked with the Best Picture nomination. Dune, Power of the Dog, and Don't Look Up are all nominated for Best Picture. Dune and Power of the Dog are the only ones out of those 3 that have a sound nomination. Which one of those 2 is going to win sound? It's Dune. So that's my reasoning for picking Dune here. Yeah, Dune hasn't really picked up an editing nomination. All these guilds and all these different places have honestly refused to give Dune editing. But I don't see any reasoning why Power of the Dog would get it, or even Don't Look Up. I just don't see how they could not give it to Dune. I gave my reasonings for it. Best editing goes to Dune. Cinematography. So this was Dune's package for the longest time, until the Critics' Choice went with Ari Wagner. Ari Wagner. For Power of the Dog, which is awesome. A woman cinematographer has never won the Oscar, and that would be really cool. And I think that cinematography is amazing. However, the ASCs just happened, and they gave it to Greg Fraser, who shot Dune. And I think it's just Greg Fraser's time. There's also this little indie movie that just came out called The Batman that Greg Fraser also shot, and everybody's talking about that film, especially its cinematography. And so it's just a perfect storm for Greg Fraser right now. It's time for him to get that Oscar, and I don't see why they. It's a cool narrative for Ari Wegner, but it's also a really good narrative for Greg Fraser, and he has the precursors for it. So I'm going to go with Dune. And then production design. This is another conversation between, is Dune going to take it? Or can something else stop it? That's how a lot of the tech categories go. Is Dune winning? Or can something else stop it? And I'm here to tell you that something else could stop it here. I will say, something else could stop it. I think Nightmare Alley is kind of strong. Just like a low-key kind of strong. Dune has got the Critics' Choice and BAFTA on its side. But at the Art Designers Guild Awards, Dune and Nightmare both got wins in their respective categories. I think it was like sci-fi and then period. So I would say if there is a challenger, it is Nightmare Alley. But here's the thing. If I'm predicting, going off of my other predictions, that they went with editing despite Dune not really proving super duper strong. They went with cinematography, even though there was other competitors in there. I think it's the same here. I don't want to be boring with my predictions, but I want to be right. So I'm going to go give it to Dune. So I am predicting that Dune is going to get editing, cinematography, and production design. And it's still not going to win Best Picture or anything like that. It's kind of a Mad Max Fury Road kind of vibe where it's going to pick up a lot of technicals, but nothing over the line. Everything below the line. So I'm going to go with those. Alrighty, let's go into some more clear-cut categories to kind of make us feel better here. Costume design. It's going to Cruella. It's won at the BAFTA and the Critics' Choice and the Costume Designers Guild Award. It's Cruella. It is kind of interesting, looking at what else is nominated there. Dune, West Side, Nightmare, and Cyrano. 3 of those are Best Picture contenders. Why would they give it to Cruella? Because the costumes are amazing. The costumes make that movie, and it's a wonderful pick. I'm really pleased that Cruella is shaped out to be the front runner. So Cruella for costume design, makeup and hairstyling. I'm predicting The Eyes of Tammy Faye. It won at the BAFTA and the Critics' Choice, and that's what told me it's going to win. It did not win at the guilds. They kind of gave it to Coming to America and Cruella. It was an interesting kind of they did that. But that package, that sweet package of makeup and hairstyling and lead actress is a package that the Oscars love to do. Love to do. If an actress or an actor is coated in makeup and all that shit, they'll go, ooh, we gotta nominate the makeup and hairstyling too. Even if those cheekbones are a little outrageously big, we'll still nominate it. And we're gonna give the win. We're gonna give it the win. We're gonna give it the win. So, congrats to Tammy Faye. That'll be cool. Visual effects, easy peasy. Dune. What else are they gonna give it to? Free Guy? Bleh. Best sound. The most surefire lock of the entire night. It's Dune. I mean, probably the most surefire pick of best sound design in a film of the decade. Perhaps. I won't say all time because I haven't, I'd have to do some research, but in recent memory, one of the best sound designs in a film. Dune is the sound. The sound is Dune. And then original score. This is also a Dune win. So you heard it from me. It's going to be 6 wins for Dune. I know. Kind of crazy. But how can they not give it to Hans Zimmer? In my mind, I don't think the runner-up is Power of the Dog, though. I think that runner-up could be Encanto. I think, as I'll talk in a second, the hype for Encanto is just unmatched right now. And so I think that could creep up and challenge it a little bit. But, I mean, Hans, got to give him that second Oscar. He has not won an Oscar since The Lion King. Isn't that crazy? Out of all the films that he's been doing, you think about all the iconic scores, all the Chris Nolan movies, but he still hasn't got anything. And so, hey, it's time. It's time. So score will go to Dune. Original song, I'm going with No Time to Die, from No Time to Die by Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell. It's winning everywhere. Got the Golden Globe and the Critics' Choice. No other song really has been picking up anything. The only reason I'm a little hesitant is just because Encanto, even though we don't talk about Bruno, is not nominated here. Dos Oruguitas is, and I just think everyone, we don't talk about Bruno. No, everybody is talking about Bruno. And so maybe that challenges a little bit, but I think Billy's too strong. So that'll be a great moment as well, seeing Billy win an Oscar. And they're performing. They announced that all but Van Morrison for Down to Joy are going to be performing their songs at the Oscars, which will be awesome. That'll be fun to see. So congrats, Billy. That'll be cool. Best International Film, Drive My Car. No questions. Needed. Documentary, Summer of Soul. Again, we don't need to talk about it. Just it won the PGA, won the BAFTA, won the Critics' Choice. It's kind of weird because the documentary category, like when it comes to nominating, they often like to exclude the front runner. They did that with like Apollo 11. They've done it several other times, and this year they almost did it. They snubbed The Rescue, which was very high up there, but Summer of Soul has been getting in everywhere and winning everywhere. So, hey, get ready for it. Academy Award winner, Questlove. How that's awesome. And it was one of my favorite films. My favorite documentary and one of my favorite films of last year. So, hey, Summer of Soul's gonna win. Animated film, I talked about it just barely. Encanto. Mitchell's, it won at the Annies and the Critics' Choice, but meh. Encanto's too strong. It's too strong. And then to close it out, the short categories, which I don't know enough about. I've seen a couple of them. I've done a little bit of research, just seeing what's being talked about. When it comes to animated short, it looks like Robin is going to be the front runner here. And when you look at the history of what kind of animated shorts win, you think talking animals. And that, you got Robin. I think Richard E. Grant is a voice in it as well. So I don't see how any of these other ones maybe they'll get in. There's often surprises in these categories as well, but Robin is the very far ahead on Gold Derby odds. A lot of people are talking about it to win, so I got to go with Robin. Best documentary short, I'm going with Queen of Basketball. It's a New York Times short documentary they did. I think maybe Audible could come in. Audible is on Netflix. It's about this deaf football player. It's been getting a bit of hype and talk, but more people are talking about Queen of Basketball, so I'm going with that. And then finally, live action short. We're going with The Long Goodbye. This is a Riz Ahmed produced and starring in this short. And they like to go with shorts that have recognizable names, especially when it comes to the live action category. We saw a few years ago or a year ago, Oscar Isaac was in one. So we're going to go with The Long Goodbye. I'm thinking maybe Please Hold. It just got put onto HBO Max. I just think what's the most accessible out of these shorts that the most people are going to see and talk about. But The Long Goodbye is looking to be that one this year. And that is all of the categories. Those are all of the categories, all 23 categories here. So looking at the breakdown, the leading number of wins here goes to Dune with 6. CODA's looking to walk out with 3. And The Eyes of Tammy Faye coming out with 2. And those are going to be the only films with multiple wins. Whereas The Power of the Dog is only going to walk away with 1. And that freaks me out a little bit. That I'm predicting Power of the Dog just to walk away with 1 win. Whereas just days ago, a lot of us were predicting it to walk away with 4. And CODA maybe get just 1. It's a crazy time. Life moves fast. I'm telling you. Other films: Belfast, West Side, King Richard, Drive My Car, Encanto, Summer of Soul, Cruella, No Time to Die, all gonna walk away with 1. Notable films walk away with nothing. Talking about Licorice Pizza, walking away with none. Don't Look Up, nothing. Nightmare Alley, nothing. Tragedy of Macbeth, nothing. Tick Tick Boom, nothing. Yeah, going through those, the more I think about it, the more confident I am in Guineas. I'm not saying I'm going to get 100%. I mean, that's the fun about the Oscars, is the unpredictability. I mean, there's a chance that all of this talk is just talk, and Power of the Dog walks away with 3 or 4 wins. CODA just walks away with 1, and we're all back to where we were a few weeks ago. There is a very high likelihood that happens, but there's just about the same amount of chance that crazy shit happens, and we got to be prepared for it. And I like to predict with some surprises, but it's a good mix. You gotta go with some of the predictable ones. That's why I got Dune with 6 nominations, and I'm rambling at this point, but those are my predictions. Let me know what you guys think. Be prepared for Sunday. It's going to be an interesting ceremony with all the controversy that's going around it, with what categories are going to be televised, how they're going to be televised, who's hosting it, who's coming, who's being invited, who's presenting. It's just a massive, I'm just kind of I'm kind of hoping that the ceremony is just going to be a complete mess, because at least it'll be entertaining to watch. All the, the dumpster fire that it may be, but hey, we love movies, and we're here to celebrate them and maybe have a couple of surprises here and there. So, as much as I'd want to predict all these, I hope that there's a couple of surprises that just come out of left field. Like, I just think back to February 2020, before COVID, before all that stuff, when we're going to that Best Picture and they read Parasite. What a moment when Parasite won Best Picture. Like, I want a moment like that. Maybe that will be when CODA wins. Maybe that's going to be the feeling. Maybe people are going to come around in the next few days. I don't know. I hope so. I love CODA. But yeah, that is everything. Like I said, let me know your predictions. Hit me up on Twitter. It's linked in the description below. Go check out my YouTube channel for past reactions of awards, and check out the channel shortly after the Oscar ceremony happens, and my reaction will be there and breakdown of it all. And yeah, go watch some movies, go make your predictions, and just have a wonderful night at the Oscars. And I will see you guys later.